Frontier has just released a pre-recorded live stream before they head off into the holiday season, rounding up the year we've just had, answering Commander questions about system colonization and laying the tracks for 2025. And in this video, we're breaking down everything we just learnt. The pre-recorded stream takes the form of a chat between communications lead Arthur Tolmie and the brand manager for Elite Dangerous, Zach Cocken, and starts with a chat around the monster year that Elite Dangerous has just had, including 4 new ships, the engineering rebalance, a complete reboot of power play, and the final stages of the now 2-year-old Thargoid War, including the destruction of the 8 Titan motherships. All this taking place, let us not forget, against the backdrop of the 10th anniversary of Elite Dangerous and the 40th anniversary of Elite as a franchise. You may remember we mentioned a couple of weeks back on this channel that FDev had opened a thread on the official forums as a catch-all for any questions about the upcoming colonization feature that is now going into an open beta in the new year. And it's into the answers to those caught questions from the forum that the conversation goes next, forming the majority of the body of the total stream. There's too many answers given to list here, which was great to see, but I will cover off a few of the questions that had perhaps been giving commanders the most cause for concern, and I have to say overall I was personally really pleased with the answers that FDev gave. The team opened by addressing the issue of costs to a potential system architect when it comes to calling in a colony ship at the start of the colonization process. The primary concern for many commanders being that the costs associated would be in the same ballpark as the many billions associated with fleet carrier purchase and ownership. I'm pleased to report that, whilst they stopped short of giving actual numbers, the team did reassure that whilst setup costs for the system colonization will be meaningful, they will not be a prohibitively expensive outlay for those that choose to participate. Likewise, once you've chosen to establish a system, there's absolutely no upkeep expenditure like that seen with fleet carriers. Once the colony system is queued up, however, the architect will then have 4 weeks during which the commodities needed to establish the colony must be sourced and delivered. So establishing a colony is being treated as a serious undertaking and not something to be entered into lightly. As the chat continued, Zach acknowledged that whilst the last couple of years had given the galaxy something meaningful to tackle down the combat and anti-Xeno path, they had heard the calls from the community asking for more meaning for players that preferred the exploration and trade options within Elite Dangerous, and system colonization has been geared to address some of those calls. And of course, colonization also supports the expansion of BGS factions and everything that comes with that, so wars and conflict. So much part of the day-to-day life in Elite Dangerous will come into play as part of it as well. As far as the beta test is concerned, it sounds as though the feature itself as a beta will be going into the live game environment, as Frontier stated in the stream that any claims on systems made during the beta will be honoured once the beta period is over. The only way to get truly meaningful player engagement with the system on a scale that can be dissected and adjusted by the dev team is really to drop it into the live game, so this makes complete sense, but it does mean that, as with previous betas we've seen from Frontier, you can lightly expect numbers associated with the feature to fluctuate quite significantly before settling on a happy medium. Later in the conversation, Frontier also reassured that the feature isn't just geared towards groups or teams of players. Everything in there is also perfectly achievable for those many players that wish to act in solo, which was really great to hear. There's a ton more questions answered in the stream which I haven't touched on here, so do give it a listen if colonization is something you're interested in. You'll find a link to the full archived conversation in the description below this video. Right at the very end of the chat, Arthur and Zach turn to what comes next and what the community can expect from the game after what has been a landmark year. They noted that at the start of 2024, Frontier came right out of the gate with Frontier Unlocked Episode 1, setting out a clear and unambiguous roadmap for what to expect from the year ahead. This last year has seen the formation of an important something that has been lacking from Elite Dangerous, a positive feedback loop between the community and Frontier around the game. The bold and public vision for Elite's year ahead is clearly something that has worked very well for them in 2024, as they announced in the closing moments of tonight's livestream that the plan is to do exactly the same in the first Frontier Unlocked of 2025. This is exciting news for the year ahead after an already monster year for the game, and obviously bodes very well for the future of Elite Dangerous, and we can't wait to see what the team has planned for us next. How are you feeling about colonization now that FDev have answered some more questions? Did you get your questions about colonization answered in the stream? And what would you like to see from the game in the next 12 months? Let us know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe so that YouTube shows you all our content, and if you'd like to support our work here at the Buur Pit, you can also join our Patreon. Links to that and everything we've talked about in this video you'll find linked below. That's it for now. Thanks very much for watching. We very much look forward to seeing you next time.